Hi everyone, it's me, Terry of the Yarn Joy podcast. I had several requests to do a crochet with me on how I made these scrappy baskets. A very easy pattern, and it's a great way to get rid of a lot of little balls of scrap yarn. So I've made 2 of them. This one was actually done I did 9 rounds of increasing until I started working up my sides, okay? So this one, let's see, I haven't even measured it. Let's see, let me measure the diameter. Is about 6 inches in diameter and about, 4.5 inches tall. And then I made a larger one, and then this one is holding a bunch of scrap balls. Aren't those pretty? I love all those colors. This one I did in 14 rounds. Let me measure the diameter here. The diameter for this one is about 8 inches diameter. And, I dumped out some of my balls. The height of it is 5 inches. So it's really customizable. I mean, you can make it as big or as small as you want, depending on how many yarn balls you have, and also depending on what you want to store in them. The way I do the increases, I increase by 6s. And I do have a piece of paper here that I'm going to show you. Okay, so here are my increases up to 14 rounds, depending on how big you want to make your basket. Like I said, this one right here that I made, ooh, you're really zoomed up now. That one was 14 rounds. The smaller one I only did 9 rounds with that one. Okay, so go ahead and copy this down or take a screenshot of it, however you want. I do want to show you this, so that way, like I said, you could stop at any round you want, depending on how big you want your basket to be. And I want to go ahead and show you it written out. I thought that would be helpful. I'll just go over a couple of these rows. The SC, of course, means single crochet. So row 1 will be 6 single crochets. Row 2 is INC, means increase, which means 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Okay, so increase in each stitch. And so row 2, you would have 12 stitches. These numbers in parentheses are the number of stitches you will have for that row. Okay, and so row 3 would be you do one single crochet and then an increase, which is 2 stitches in 1, and then you repeat that until you all the way around, and you'll have 18 stitches. Okay, so that's kind of how this goes. So like the next one, you do 2 single crochets and then you do an increase and you repeat that sequence all the way around, and you will have 24 stitches at the end of the row. So that's how you can read this sheet that I wrote up. This is a 6. I almost made a boo-boo with the writing. So that is a 6. 6 single crochets and then an increase. And that is your sequence. You repeat that until you get all the way around your piece. Yeah. So there is your cheat sheet, I guess. So I just wanted to show you that. So what you need for this is gather up your scrap balls. Like I said, I have all these, which are real colorful ones. Let me zoom you back out a little bit. So I have all these real multicolored, a lot of color. Some of them are even variegated, you know, and you want kind of your small ones. Unless you want really big patches of color, you want to use your smaller scrap balls. So that way you'll be changing color often, you know, to get you know, this effect. Okay. And so I do have quite a bit of colorful ones, but then I also have quite a bit of, like in this container, neutrals, like grays and tans and whites and off-whites and browns. You know, I have a lot of these neutral ones that I haven't used. Here's another big container of them. Now these are bigger balls, so I will probably, what I did with this basket is if I felt like I had gone long enough with the one color, then I would cut it and change to another color instead of use up the whole ball at once. But you can do it however you want it to do it. You can just do it until, you know, you keep stitching until you use up that ball you know, you just make it your own, in other words. Okay, we will be holding 2 strands together. So what I'm going to do with this one, like I said, I have a lot of these neutral colored balls. So I'm going to hold a neutral-ish color with a bright color together, I think. And that's how I'm going to do this basket. Okay, as far as tools, you want a pair of scissors. You want a stitch marker of some sort. You want a tapestry needle or a yarn needle if you're going, you know, to weave in ends or however you want to do ends. Some people like to just do it really scrappy, tie the ends together, trim them short, and just leave little ends sticking out as far as for the look of it being a scrappy project. So however you want to do it. I'm going to be connecting mine with a magic knot, so that way I won't have any tails to weave in except for beginning and ending. Okay, and so the hook I'm going to be using today is a 5mm hook. Now, if you have a lot of yarn you want to use up and you want a really a lot stiffer basket, feel free to hold 3 strands together. But I tend to like to only work with 2 strands held together. And I believe that is all as far as the tools that you need. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to be starting with a magic ring. You don't have to. You can do chain 2. Put the yarn on your hook with a slip knot, do chain 2, and then work in that first chain, which is the second chain from the hook, and work into that. But I'm going to be doing the magic ring. Okay, so I'm going to pick a bright color. And then I'm going to pick a neutral color. Let's see. I'll pick this little ball right here. Okay, so I'm going to be holding them together. And I am going to make a magic ring. To get started. There's many tutorials that you can look up. I don't personally have a tutorial for a magic ring. At least I don't think so. But there are many tutorials that you can look up to teach you how to do a magic ring. I know I had to look at tutorials continually until finally I got it, like muscle memory in my head, and how to do it without having to look at one demonstrated. But it took me a while. Okay, so now I'm going to do 6 single crochets into this ring. Okay, 1, 2, I'm working over all these tails, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now I'm going to pull my tail to close up my circle. Oh, it's 2 tails because I've got 2 strands. So I'm going to pull it tight, and then I'm going to go ahead and continue on. So that was round 1, was just 6 single crochets in the ring. Let me go ahead and zoom you up so then you can see better what I'm doing. Okay, so now I am going to go ahead and go directly into my the stitch number 1 from round 1, which was this one right here, and I'm going to do go on to round 2, which is, let me get under there, 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. But I just made my first one, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my marker in, so that way I'll remember when I get to back to the start of my round. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So that was 1. So now I'm going to do another one in that same stitch. So 1 and 2, okay? And then now I'm going to go to the next stitch, and I'm going to do 3 and 4 for my single crochets counting. Okay, and then I'm going to do 5 and 6 in the next one, next stitch. I'm tangling up. Okay. Okay, looks like I have a knot here where I did not trim my tails. So let me go ahead and trim this one. This must have been something that I had unraveled. I mean, you know, taking the stitches out or something. Okay. Okay, so I believe that was 5 and 6. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So in the next stitch, I'm going to do 7 and 8. 7 and 8 in the same stitch. Okay. And then 9 and 10 into the next stitch. And then I'm going to do 11 and 12 into the last stitch of that round. And you can see now I am back to my marker again. Okay, now what I'm going to do before I go any further, I'm going to pull this out just a little bit so I don't lose my hook, my stitch. I'm going to turn this over to the back side, and I'm going to use my yarn needle with these beginning tails, and I'm just going to, in fact I can just do them separate, but I'm just going to weave them in a little bit so then I can cut them short and then they won't be in my way. So I'll just go under a few stitches here and there to secure them down like that. So there's my first one. And then do the same thing with the other strand. And just go under some stitches here. Okay, and trim that off. Okay, so now we're ready to continue. Put my hook back into the stitch, and I'm going to move my stitch marker, and then I'm going to go on to round number 3. So in round number 3, I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and I'm put my marker back in there. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So that was number 1, so this is going to be stitch number 2 and number 3. They're both in the same stitch. Okay, so that is my sequence for this round, is 1 single crochet and then an increase, and an increase is 2 stitches in 1. Okay, so that was 1 and then 2 and 3 for that increase. So the next one is 4 and then 5 and 6. We should have 18 stitches in this round when we finish. 7, 8 and 9. Okay, 10, 11 and 12, 13, 14 and 15, and then 16 in the next stitch, and then 17 and 18, and that is in your last stitch of the round. Okay, so we have our 18 stitches now. Okay, so let's go on. I want to go ahead and go along with you until I finish up the C, because this ball was smaller than this one. And so I'm going to, let me zoom that out just a little. I'm going to continue on with you, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to add on my next color when this one runs out. Okay, so now we are on round 4, so I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet in that first stitch and put my stitch marker back. And then I need to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And now I'm going to do an increase in the next one. So increase, that's 2 stitches in this stitch. Okay, so what I just did was 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's usually how I count that round when I'm doing that amount of increases. So that was stitch number 4. So the next one would be 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that's usually how I like to count it. So that way it kind of gets in a rhythm and I know that's the sequence I need to do for that round. So continuing on, 9, 10, and then the next one's an increase. So 11 and 12. Okay, now, as you can see, I'm running out of the white yarn. And that was one that I called my neutrals. And so I'm going to go ahead and get another neutral out of my container. Let's see. I'm going to pick, let's see, the other one's an orange. So I'm going to get this small ball right here of dark brown. Ooh, let me get it out of my container. There, see that? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I still have yarn on my yellow with my orange, so I'm just going to deal with the white right now. And I'm going to do a magic knot, so that way I don't have to weave in ends, okay? I do have a tutorial on how to do a magic knot, so I can link that down below in the description box. You can watch that and learn how to do a magic knot, okay? But basically, you put the tails facing, going different directions. And so the first one, I'm going to do the dark brown one first. I'm going to go under it and back over and make a loop like that. And then you're going to make an overhand, I'm sorry, my fingers are in the way. Then you're going to make an overhand knot. Let's see. And then you're going to go under and pull that tight. Okay, and now I'm going to take the white yarn, which you'll be able to see better, and I'm going to do the same thing. Go under the other yarn and over it and over the white, and then go through it to make an overhand knot like that, like a pretzel. And then I'm going to pull that tight. Now I'm going to take the brown and the white, you know, where the knots are in the middle, and I'm going to pull them, and they're going to pull together. You see that? And then I pull it really tight. Okay, and now I'm going to take my scissors, and I'll just cut those ends off. And you can cut them tight, you know, close to the knot. I have never had a magic knot come undone so far. Okay. Okay, what number was I on? I don't remember. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I'm halfway around. So continuing on, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So now we're into the next color. Zoom you out a little bit more. Okay. Continuing on, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 21, 22, 23, and 24. Okay. Let's go on to round 5. Round 5, the sequence is 3 single crochets, so 1 in each of the 3 stitches, and then an increase in the next stitch, okay? And that will be multiples of 5, and at the end of this round, you will have 30. So I took my stitch marker out. I'm going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, and then put the stitch marker back. Okay, so that was stitch number 1. So stitch number 2 is in the next stitch. Stitch number 3 is in the next stitch. So 3 singles. And now I'm going to do an increase for 4 and 5. So 4 and 5. Oop, I only got one. You have to be careful that your hook, make sure that your hook catches both of those strands and not just one. Okay. Continuing on, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oop. Okay. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Oops, see, now I almost didn't do the increase. So 14 and 15 need to go into the same stitch. Okay. 16, 17, 18, and then 19 and 20 goes into this next stitch. So 19 and 20. 21, 22, 23, and then 24 and 25 goes into the next stitch as an increase. 26, 27, 28, and then 29 and 30. So that's an increase in the last stitch, 29 and 30. Okay, so now I am back to my stitch marker, and as you can see, I'm about to run out of orange yarn and getting a little thin on the brown, but I think I'm going to run out of the orange next. So I will be getting picking out another bright color to replace that orange as soon as I get to the end of that. Okay, so that was round 5. Round 6 is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase, and you do that all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to take my marker out, put my first stitch in that stitch, and go ahead and put my marker back. So that was stitch number 1. Continuing on, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to do an increase. 5 and 6. Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to go ahead and stop right there, and I'm almost out of my bright color, so I need to go ahead and pick another bright color. Let's see. Let's do this aqua color. Now this one's a pretty big size ball. I might go ahead and cut it after a little bit and then save it and add it in again. I might go ahead and do that because I do like the look of the way the colors change real often. So that's how you achieve that. Okay, so magic knot to connect the orange and this aqua color together. Like I said, you can refer to the magic knot tutorial that I'll link down below in the description box if you want to look at it slower and me giving you more detail as far as how to do that. If you hear those little pitty-patter feet, that's Teddy coming in here or checking to see what I'm doing in here. Okay, so I'm connected for the next color, and so let's go on back here, back to the our rounds, and I was on round 10. I'm not round 10, stitch number 10, so I need to do an increase of 11 and 12 in that stitch, and then keep going. 13, 14, about the colors changing now. 15, 16, and then 17 and 18. Okay, And I'm almost gonna have to pick another color for that dark one. Keep going. 19, 20, 21, 22. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to pick another neutral color. I'll probably pick a light, well, this one's still kind of on the light side, so let me see what I want to pick this time. Let's pick, why don't I pick, let's see. I'm going to pick this dark, it's kind of a dark purple blue color, this one right here. And I'm going to tie that onto my brown that I am using up here with a magic knot. And then trim the little tails. I love using the magic knot because you don't have to weave in ends. Okay. I believe I have to do an increase here. I don't remember what the number was. So let me go ahead. I'm going to count right quick because I don't remember what number I was on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Okay. So continuing on, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 for an increase. And then 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Okay, so that was the end of round 6. Okay, liking how the colors are coming out. Okay, let's go on to round 7. So put a stitch in the first stitch and replace the stitch marker. Okay, so for round 7, it's 5 single crochets and then an increase, and that's our sequence. So that was stitch number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a 5, now an increase, 6 and 7. So with the 5 with the increase, that makes 7 stitches, and so you're counting by 7s on this round. So continuing on, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 for your increase. Okay? So the next 7 after 14 is 21, so that's where you're going to do the increase. So continuing on, that was at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then an increase for 20 and 21 in the same stitch. Okay. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and then your increase for 27 and 28 in the same stitch. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35 for an increase. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, and 42. Okay, so that was round 7. We now have 42 stitches around. So that's how you do the increasing. I'm just increasing by sixes, multiples of 6s each time. Like I said, this was 7 rounds. I think what I will probably do is I'm going to go ahead and, I know it's really up close, but I'm going to go ahead and for my basket, I really like this larger size that I had where I did 14 rounds before I went up the sides. And so that means since I just finished round 7, that means I'm halfway through. I'm going to go ahead and do another one that is 14 rounds. And I'm going to go ahead and follow the paper here. Let me show you that. I'll cut away to that. Okay, so here is my paper. I just finished round 7 right here, round 7, and I ended up with 42 stitches around. And I'm going to go ahead and do the next round, which will be 6 single crochets and an increase. And then row 9 will have 7 single crochets and an increase for the sequence. Row 10 would have 8 single crochets and an increase, and it tells you the totals. That's 66 right there. I almost messed up. So that does say 66 stitches. So 11 will have, round 11 will have 66 stitches around, okay? So I'm going to be finishing on round 14, where I'm going to be doing 12 single crochets and an increase, and repeat that around. I will have 84 stitches around my circle, okay? So that's what I'm going to be doing. You can stop at any time. It depends on how much yarn you have and how big your basket you want your basket to be. If you want a very large basket, then you can just keep going. Like round 15 would have 13 single crochets and then an increase, and then whatever that would be, 84 plus 6 would be 90, right? 90 stitches around. Anyway, you can just continue depending on how big you want to make your basket, okay? So I just thought that would be helpful for you as far as your increases. Okay, so one other thing I want to say is, I think what I'm going to do, since I've got this ring of this one color, you don't have to use up your whole ball if you don't want to. If you want to kind of color control it, you can go ahead and snip that yarn like that. And then I will look in my scrap bin here, and I might pick out some other color that I want to, add to it, like this bright, and then that bright highlighter color, and I'll just add it to this one strand that I cut. And then later on I will pick this ball back up and I will put it also into my basket somewhere. So anyway, you can do that, or you can just keep on going until your balls are finished, depending on, even if you have a very large ball, you just have like a bigger patches of color, but just make it your own. Okay, so I'm going to keep going on mine, and like I said, I'm going to go ahead and go up to rounds 14 like I showed on the paper, and then I will meet you back at that point when I have my 14 rounds around, and then I will show you how you'll start building up the sides. It's very easy, okay? So keep working on your basket bottom, and I will we'll meet back up again, and I will show you the next step. So I did all of my increases for my circle, which is the base of my basket. I ended up doing 15 rounds instead of 14 rounds. Got kind of on a roll. And so anyway, this last round, the repeat sequence or whatever of the stitches was 13 single crochets and then 1 increase, and then I repeated that all the way around, and so I ended up with 90 stitches around my circle. So when you are at the point where your basket is to the size that you want, the diameter, then the next step is to start building up the sides. And the way I do that is I'm going to take my marker out. And so this round and only this round, I'm going to work in the back loops only for this round only. Okay, so back loops only. Let me zoom you in. Okay, ready? Back loops only. So first stitch, back loops, but make sure you're going under both of your colors and do a single crochet. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my marker. And the only reason I'm putting my marker is because now I'm doing it in continual rounds. I'm not joining at the end of each round, but the reason I put a marker, that just kind of helps me remember where the round starts. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep going, doing the same thing, one single crochet, but I'm going to do in the back loops only of this round, all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this all the way around, and I will meet you up when I get back to the marker again. So I just completed my round where I did one single crochet in each stitch around, working in the back loops only. Okay, made it back to my marker. So now I'm going to remove my marker, and I'm going to continue on to the next round. And from now until the end of the basket, I'm just going to do one single crochets and all the way around, and I'm going to work in both loops. I mean, you know, the whole loop, not just the back loop only. Okay, go back to regular. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing now, is just working one stitch in each stitch around, working through all the loops, you know, both loops, not just the back loop. And this will be building up the sides of my basket. Okay. And as you can see, that where we did the back loop only, it's going to eventually turn up, and that's going to be like the corner of our basket. So I can turn it this way, where this is the inside of the basket. And as you can see, it's going to start curling, you know, turning up where we did the back loop only. And it'll be more so, you know, the more rows you have, you're going to see, I mean the rounds, you're going to see that it's going to be heading up. Okay, so just continue on, and you're going to keep doing that until you have the height of the basket that you want. And then when you get to the top height that you want, minus like one round, because I'll show you what I did at the top of my baskets. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work on my basket, growing it taller, you know, to the height that I want, and then I will meet you back up and we will finish the very last round. So I built up the sides to the height that I want on my basket. This is what it's looking like. Here's the bottom. Very happy with it. It is about, I did it about 5 inches tall. I decided I wanted to do it the same height as the other larger basket that I have. And so I just set them next to each other and decided to do it the same height. I thought it would look good that way. So what I'm ready to do now is I'm ready to do my very last round. And what I like to do is on the very last round, I like to do a set of decreases. And so the way I figure out how to do that is the last round of increases that I did it was 13 single crochets and then an increase all the way around. And so now what I want to do is I want to do 13 single crochets, but then a decrease, and I'll repeat that all the way around. And so that will bring my stitch count from 90 stitches around back down to 84. Okay, I think that doing that one round of decreases, it gives it a nice shaping at the top, like I did this one right here. Okay. And so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so whatever the last round that you did, for example, if you made your basket 10 rounds, and so on your 10th round you did 8 single crochets and then an increase, and then you did that all the way around, and so you have 60 stitches. So then your one round of decreases would be 8 single crochets again, but then do a decrease instead of an increase, and you would do a decrease by doing a single crochet 2 together. Okay, or you can do an invisible decrease. Either way, either one you'd like to do will work fine. Okay, so let's get started, and I will show you the first few stitches on my round. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, with me, I'm going to do 13 single crochets and then a decrease. Okay, so go ahead, and I did my first single crochet, and then I'll put my marker back so that way I'll know when I get all the way around. Okay, so that was stitch number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay, and then 13, and now I'm going to do a decrease. And I'm just going to do, I think, I'm so used to doing an invisible join, I think I'll do it that way. You can also do single crochet 2 together. So in an invisible join, you go underneath the front loop only of the next stitch, and then you pivot around and you go underneath the front loop only of the next stitch, and then you'll pull your yarn through all those loops, and then you finish your single crochet like regular. So that's an invisible decrease. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that. So for me, it's 13 single crochets and then a decrease, and I'm going to do that all the way around, and I will meet you back when I get back to my marker again. Okay, so I made it back down to back around to my marker again. So now I can go ahead and take my marker out. I'm finished with that. Okay, so now to finish off, I like to do I think they call it an invisible join. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my yarn, and I'm going to cut it with, 6-8 inches of tail, I guess. And then I'm going to just take my hook, and I'm just going to pull it all the way through, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to find my very next stitch, which is right here. Okay. I'm going to skip that one, and I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to go under it from the front to the back all the way through under all the loops, grab my tail, bring it all the way through. Okay, and now I'm going to come back over here to where the yarn was coming out of, and I'm going to go under the front loops only of that stitch, and then I'm going to take my tail and I'm going to hook that around my hook, and then I'm going to pull that through those front loops and down. Okay, now I'm going to just tighten this up, and what it does is it makes a duplicate stitch over the top of the next stitch, and so when you look at the top, it looks like it's continual, and you can't find that first stitch. So that's an invisible join. So now what I like to do is from the back to the front, I like to go ahead and pull my yarn tail to the back, to the inside, and then I will take my yarn needle and I will just weave that in, weave these 2 strands in along, similar colors, and then snip it off, and then your basket is finished. Yeah, so I'll go do that off camera. Anyway, so here's my basket. I really like the edging to do 1 round of decreasing back, a previous round. Previous round, right? you do 1 decrease back, and that just kind of gives it a little rounded edge at the top, just a little bit, just slight. And I think it helps with the shaping of it, and it helps with it, you know, to stand up. And I just like the way that looks. I do want to say that Seta of Seta's Place has a great series of baskets. She's been making baskets where she's been using yarn and covering plastic baskets and, you know, things, containers that she's gotten like from Dollar Tree and different places, baskets with handles and different things. And she's been covering them with yarn, a yarn covering. And so go over and check hers out. She's got some great ideas. All her baskets look great. It's a series that she's doing. She's covering all these different containers and things in preparation of getting into her and her husband getting into their own place. And so I will link Seta's channel down below in the description box, and go over there and check out her baskets. Maybe you can get some great ideas on how, if you want to have a more substantial basket, I mean like a stronger type basket where you have a plastic insert, you know, because she's covering plastic containers. Anyway, hers are looking really cool. Go ahead and check hers out. So thank you so much for watching my tutorial today. I hope you make a basket for yourself if you need one. I like to use them just like to store, to put like granny squares in, small pieces of things that maybe yarn related things that I'm working on, you know, like amigurumi parts and different things, just to help contain them. Thanks for watching the tutorial today, and thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.